So I started a drone business in 2024, just like the other hundreds, if not thousands of people out there that decided to take on a new business venture and try to make some money with drones. So just wanted to give some feedback about what I experienced, what worked well, what didn't, for anyone that's considering to getting started in 2025. So first off, I did not have a profit in 2024. My expenses actually exceeded my income, so I operated at a loss. But again, that's expected in the first year. There's startup costs. I had to pay money to get my 107. I had to pay money to get a drone. I had to get drone insurance. All that stuff had to be done before I even had one customer pay me. So naturally, you're going to be spending more than you're making. For 2025, I don't know. I'm not on track to do what I did so far last year. It's definitely a lot lower, a lot of less opportunities, and not many jobs coming in, but it's still something that I'm doing. I actually just finished a job today and heading back home. But again, it's just like anything else out there. It's a business, and you got to take some losses. You got to take your wins, and you got to keep trying to grow if that's something you want to do. So for me, the reason why I decided to take the next step and do drone was, I have a YouTube channel. It's nothing much, but I enjoy making videos in my spare time, and whether it's with mountain biking or just doing some FPV stuff, that's something I truly enjoy doing. And since I was already flying drones, I have my trust certificate, but I didn't have anything that allowed me to work commercially as a pilot. So last year I took one of those online courses, did my studying, and passed my 107 on the first try. So that was step one, was making sure that I had the correct certification to work commercially as a pilot. Step two, before I even started submitting bids, whether it was on Droners.io or there's several other platforms out there, I went ahead and secured drone insurance. So I carry a $1 million policy, that I pay every month that covers my drones, and I actually added on to cover some hull damage on mine. So it actually paid off when I had one of my drones crash when I was out shooting some motocross. Was able to replace my FPV drone. I'll replace the part so that way I can go out and build another one. So that was a plus, that I wasn't out several $100s when that happened. But step two, like I said, step one was getting my Part 107. Step two was securing insurance. And then step three was building a website and starting getting content. I mean, that's probably the hardest part of this, is getting content that you can upload, and so people can start seeing your work. Most of my work consists of right now shooting construction sites, whether it's existing buildings or construction in progress. That's really where I have the majority of my work coming in. I've done some real estate, but it was more of a backup. Like the real estate agents that I worked with, it was their primary photographer wasn't available, so I came in as needed. Just a couple jobs here and there, but not, of course, nothing steady for real estate. For me, I have at this point, I have no desire to shoot houses, interior and exterior. I probably could do a lot better if I was doing that, but that's just not something I want to do. As far as photography or videography is doing real estate listings. If they just need aerial photography or videos, I'm all for it. Otherwise, that's pretty much all I do with real estate. So, like I said, building a website's a hard thing. It was not easy. I'll put a link in for my website. But I just went online, used Wix, got some media that I was already shooting. At the time, I was already, flying at least once or twice a week with my FPV drones, but I had to spend some time to build up media specific to what I would say is what you'll see like on Droners.io or some of those other sites, where they just want to go shoot a site, take some photos, shoot, and upload. So, definitely have some some things that you have to work on. I think that's also something you just got to think about is, how much you want to spend to build a website. I mean, a website, depending on the platforms you guys can use, could be several $100s. And of course that adds up. I mean, on top of insurance and on top of whether you're paying monthly, or I just bought, it was cheaper just to do it by the year, forking out a couple $100s just so I can get my website. And of course, you had to buy a domain and securing that, but domains are fairly inexpensive compared to the other costs associated with it. There is a lot of expenses when building a new business, and I know I go out there and I see a lot of people posting that, they're very successful and, they're making thousands, if not tens of thousands a year. And I don't doubt that that is true for some of the people out there, some of the businesses. But at least from where I see in my market, and I'm in Southern California, the it's definitely competitive. Using the websites like Droners, I know I've only done maybe $400 worth of work in over a year and a half, which is not much. That it basically was about I think 4 or 5 jobs. I mean, the jobs unfortunately just don't pay high. I mean, most of them are $100 or less for work that I typically would charge 2-3 times that amount if I was going through my business. But I saw it as a stepping stone, something to build my portfolio, and it doesn't cost me anything to be on Droner, so I don't see it as a negative thing. There's definitely some feedback that people post online about using the platform, but I probably wouldn't, if it was a paid site, I probably wouldn't do it. I would probably have more expenses than I do income when it comes to that site. And for me, it's so hit or miss. I mean, I'll have times where there's 4 or 5 jobs in a month, and I've gotten times where there's nothing in a month. But as far as my acceptance rate on Droners, I would say I'm probably like 5% acceptance. I purposely will bid low. I don't like doing that if a job is close and I think I can do it in a short amount of time, and even then I get outbid. So I mean, there's a cutoff that you have to make as a business, what you're willing to accept for pay. For me, I just don't see the point of incurring a lot of costs, whether it's drive time, how far I have to go to get there, my time to be on site. And like most people that are doing this, you can easily tell there is no quick job. I mean, I got to make sure the airspace is clear. I have to have a visual observer. I have to have, all this stuff taken care of beforehand. Then I still need to come back and edit, whether it's video or photos, and upload it. So I think that's part of the problem, is that it's a little loud right now. I think that's part of the problem, or where I see with people bidding on jobs or jobs that are just being posted in general, is that you forget that there is that other side of it where you do have to edit. I mean, no, don't get me wrong. There are jobs that will ask for just raw footage or ungraded footage, and that's fine, whether it's pictures or video. But there's others, like when I'm doing my deliverables, I do edit the photos, I do color grade the videos. So that way it does take time, and that has to factor in to how you're, billing customers and how you're charging or bidding. And like I said, there's definitely places you can start and build your portfolio. But again, if you're just trying to go out there and make some money, for me, this is a weekend job. I can get out there, usually to do these on Saturdays or Sundays, weather permitting, and shoot my video and come home and upload media usually by that night. So it's definitely something that you can make money in. Just like any other thing out there, you're going to have to hustle. When I first started, I did spend money on Google advertising. I tried Facebook. I didn't get anything, but I did do Google, and that's actually how I landed my first couple of clients. And some of the clients I'm still working with, a year later, still getting consistent jobs for them. And I think that paid off as far as Google advertising. Now, I haven't done any paid advertising in several months, but just because it became too costly. I was spending upwards of $10 to $15 a day just to advertise, and I wasn't seeing any return on investment. So for me, it wasn't worth putting out 300 plus a month on advertising. when I'm not seeing the jobs come in. You can always argue that, the jobs are going to come in if you won't come in unless you do advertising, and that is true. If you got to get your name out there, but again, at the same time, you're going to have to, look at how much money am I willing to put out before I start to see a return, and that's the part that you'll have to make it individually as a business is how much am I already invested and how much more do I want to continue to be invested. So even without advertising, monthly costs, whether that's, for Dropbox and storage and, insurance and, consumables that I might have to use for the drones or upgrading any equipment. So, I mean, there's still money going out with not always that guaranteed coming in. Fortunately, like I said, there is a lot of construction in Southern California, and that benefits me because, they're using drone pilots to go out there and capture it. So if you were, my advice I would give for anyone looking to start in 2025 is do your research for the location you're in. I can't stress that enough. Is there jobs even out there looking for drone pilots? Are you in a new construction area? Do you have a lot of new buildings going up? Those are definitely benefits that could help you. Again, not every place is going to be able to utilize drones. There are ordinances in certain cities where you can't fly or you have to get special permission. So that could definitely limit the amount of jobs are available and how much it costs to do those jobs. The clients I work with, they, usually want the property shot within a week. And so I have time to, whether I need to get lands approval, and submit that. If I can't do the job and I can't get approval in a short time frame, I tell them that. If I am going to have to go and submit a waiver, you're looking at 30, 60 days out before that's approved. And even if it is approved, that's something I always think about too is make sure you're legally allowed to fly at the location. There's definitely people out there that are ruining this for us. We just had that incident with the drones during the drone crashing into the aircraft during the LA wildfire. So, just practice common sense when you're doing it. Second, so that was one. So know your location. Two, I would say you're going to have to do some free work. I wouldn't look at it as you're doing free work. Look at it as you're building a portfolio. So contacting construction companies or maybe some architectural firms and asking if they're interested in drone footage and just go out there and shoot it, especially if it's close by. I wouldn't say, drive hours away or hours round trip just to get some footage unless you really think it's going to benefit you. But I would say to you, look what you have around you. For me, there was a new church coming up, it was just down the street. So I could get out there, just minutes away and shoot some video or some photos. And that's a good way to help build your portfolio and get your stuff out there. Of course, you can use social media, Instagram, Facebook, just to share photos and stuff. But is the big question always with that is it getting in front of the right audience? People can look at it, but I'm going to need decision makers that are going to pay for it, the services. And that may not be something that they may not be on social media. Or may not be looking at Instagram stories or reels to find a drone pilot out there. So keep that in mind too. You could definitely track audience and get people to like or comment or just get your name out there, but are you attracting the right audience to bring in business? So that was two. So I would say then the last thing is, again, you don't have to go out and buy the most expensive drone that's available out there on the market right now. I know DJI is coming up with the new Maverick, and everyone's going to want to jump to it, but definitely is it going to be in your price range? I mean, if you look at the Mavic 3, you could easily be spending $3,000 plus on that drone, and if you think about that, if I'm only averaging $300 to $400 a job, I'm going to have to do quite a bit of jobs before I even pay off the drone. Can that be accomplished with something else that's available commercially? Most of what I have clients asking for is 4K footage, color graded, and shooting 10-bit. There's plenty of drones out there that can accomplish that without the huge price tag associated with it. But again, just knowing what's available, what's out there, and what you can provide. I think that's That's a big thing. Keep your operating costs low to begin with until you can start generating some business. And then, of course, as your business grows, you can invest more money in equipment, ensure that you're providing a good service for others to use, or providing a good service that meets the needs of the clients. And I think that's what's important. I think I've heard that on a lot of YouTube videos that I've watched, where what you're offering a solution to a problem. That's the way you got to look at it. What solution am I offering? If it's being able to capture good quality photos and videos with the drone, then go out there and do it. Just remember, there's a lot of people doing it. That's not to discourage, but also what can I do that's going to set me apart from others in this same field? Why would they want to come to me versus going to others that are out there? And I think that's something you've got to keep in mind too, is one of the reasons why I offer, I do stuff with regular video camera. I do FPV drones. I do go out there and get some mountain bike footage. So you've got to really be able to say, what do I offer that's unique to me, and can I offer a solution to meet their needs? So again, this is just a little bit of feedback of what I see and what I've done, and hopefully it can help you guys grow in your business. If you're thinking of starting a drone photography or videography business, that can help get you started. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, leave those below, and I will come back on and answer them when I can. All right. Good luck out there.